Hi, it's Bruce. If you're like me, when you start keeping bees, you just get fascinated with these little creatures and you want to do more and more with them. You want to learn everything you can about them. Great stuff. But beekeeping is a pretty expensive hobby, and at some point most of us think to ourselves it'd be nice to make a little bit of money with the bees. So how could I do that? Well, I could sell honey, and a lot of folks do that, and that works out well for some. But here in Florida, it is bloody hot in the summertime. I'm just not willing to put in all the work to sell enough honey to get by on. All right, what else could I do? Well, I could raise queens and sell them. Again, in the state of Florida, under the guidelines of the Florida Department of Agriculture, I have to have quite a lot of land and quite a lot of drones and, to keep the genetics pure. It's a lot of requirements, and I'm just not in position to do that. What if there was a way to do beekeeping and make a little bit of money at it? I'm going to interview my friend Dana from Monarda Apiaries. Now, Monarda Apiaries is a small mom and pop business run by Dana and her husband Wyatt. Great folks, great folks. So I'm going to show you what they're about, and so hang with me. I think you'll find this really interesting. Okay, so this is the bee room?
Yeah, this is the bee room.
So what am I seeing here?
Just a sampling of the products that we carry here. We definitely have the basics and then some of the fun stuff as well.
Well, I'm here with Miss Dana, and Dana is representing Monarda Apiaries.
You got it right.
I said it right. Hey, I didn't last night when we were talking, but Dana, if you would first, what is Monarda? Tell me about that.
Monarda is a plant. Here in Florida, we have the common variety of Monarda Punctata. It's spotted bee balm, it is. I like the name.
Very nice.
I mean, it's bee balm. So how can you go wrong with a name that represents kind of what you're doing? The flower that I chose for Monarda, though, is actually of a different variety. And if I pronounce this wrong for all the gardeners out there, I am so sorry. But I only know the name by reading it. I haven't actually heard the name, but I believe it's pronounced Didyma or Didyma. Anybody that's familiar with the flower, they'll know.
All right. How did you get into beekeeping?
Honestly, I didn't have fruit set. We have a lot of fruit trees in the yard, and we just had no fruit set. And, well, why don't we have fruit set? You don't have pollinators. And we were eating lunch one day, and we seen an article in the newspaper. A gentleman down in Palm Beach had swarm traps up all over the place, all over the town, and what he would do is he would give those hives away. He would, capture swarms and stuff, put them in boxes, and then sell them or give them away to potential beekeepers. And it's like, well, hey, bees, that would be cool. I mean, who doesn't want stinging insects in their backyard?
Of course. Crazy people. Man. All right. Well, a lot of people get fascinated by bees when they get into beekeeping. And we all kind of are interested in it. And we've all thought, wouldn't it be great to make a little bit of money with bees, doing something? And honey, frankly, we were talking about earlier, is a lot of work, and some people go the route of beekeeping, but Dana and her husband went a little bit different way with it. Can you talk about the business for me, please?
Yeah, the way the business started out, just to touch on the honey thing, if you want bees because you want to make honey and sell honey, buy it. It's cheaper to find a local beekeeper, support them. You know, if you're only in it for the honey, it's, unless you're going to run 10,000 hives, honey is not the way to go. But as far as what I ended up doing, when I joined our local club here in Fort Pierce, I thought, great, I'm going to have people to put orders together for, because, you know, it's, even now, if you want to get free shipping from like Dayton or Man Lake or any of the other big beekeeping companies, you have to have a minimum order.
Yeah.
So when you're a backyard beekeeper, you know, and you need 2 frames because you left one in the sun and it warped, and, you know, now you have like all this weird comb in the hive. And
Yeah, one thing about beekeeping supply places, the woodwork stuff, the shipping is expensive. And Dayton and Man Lake both are $150 minimum order to get free shipping now, so that's gone up. Dana's business model has been very interesting to the local clubs around here. I'd like you to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, again, as a backyard beekeeper, I understood how difficult it could be to find some way to get 1 frame, 2 frames, or just a single queen excluder. And, you know, trying to come up with a minimum order to keep the cost down was almost impossible. So you go to your fellow club members. Does anybody need anything? And you would think that, you know, people would know what they need and they could get an order together. Well, it never worked out that way. And then it would become critical that I would need equipment, so I would have to do the order. And I just started to pad my order. I would bring in equipment that I had heard my fellow beekeepers talking about, you know, what they were going to need or might need. And then when they would come to me and say, hey, are you ready to do an order? I kind of had some products that were already sitting here. And then they would ask if I had something else, and do you have this or do you have that? And it kind of just grew from there. I found a local supplier here in Florida for my woodenware. She is a minority-owned business, South Florida Bee Supplies down in Homestead. So, you know, all of my wood comes from right here in Florida. It is Texas wood. She has it shipped in, but she actually uses white pine instead of yellow pine. But that works out nice, you know, because I'm actually supporting another small business and supporting my small business, and we're both woman-owned, female-owned, so, yeah.
Well, one thing that Dana does that is just tremendous for our club and some of the local clubs around here. Sorry,
I forgot all about asking that question.
She'll actually reach out to our club and say if anybody has an order they need, that we can order it on her website, pay for it on the website, and she actually brings it to our club meetings. We have a monthly meeting, and it's tremendous, you know, and that saves us the shipping. And so her prices are competitive with Man Lake and Dayton and all that, but you know, it's really good to support a small business, and she really goes above and beyond, her and her husband both, to support us back. And so this is what we really like.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I do it for the club here locally, the Treasure Coast Beekeepers. I do it for your club, the South Brevard, your South Brevard Beekeepers. Yep. And I have recently started working with the Brevard Backyard Beekeepers, which is the club north of you. Mm-hmm. And the way that we've worked everything out is that I will deliver up north to your club meeting, and then I just go a little further north and meet anybody from the Melbourne Cocoa area, a little further up, right off of 95. And that gives them the way to get product also without driving for an hour or more, and not needing to come up with those minimum orders for like Dayton or Man Lake.
Mm-hmm. But you also ship things too, right?
I don't do shipping. I will if it's something small. I have not moved into that area yet. Right. But we're talking about it.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Well, I'm very impressed. She has in this little warehouse area. She's got about all the stuff you'd need to get started and to continue your beekeeping fix here. But she's a real good person. Her and her husband both are great friends and great beekeepers and stuff. So anything you'd like to say to people?
Not really. I mean, keep on learning. I mean, if I had to give one piece of advice to beekeepers, and it's something I tell all new beekeepers, learn how to read your frames, learn about the biology of the bees. The bees will not do what you want them to do, but if you learn how to understand them, you can anticipate what they're going to, and you can adjust your habits or maneuvers to accomplish what you want. Learn how to work with your bees. Don't try to, they're not a dog. When you tell them to sit, it's not going to happen.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Now, I'm not affiliated with Monarda Apiaries. I don't get any money back from them or anything.
Nope.
I'm here doing this because I support them as a local Florida beekeeper business, and they're just such good people. All right, so thank you very much. I'm going to put her contact information in the notes, and I'll put a card up in a moment too, so you can look at her website. All right. Thank you very much. This is Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce.
My pleasure. Now at this point, Dana asked me to help. I didn't really do anything, but I went out with her to install a queen in one of her own colonies. In South Florida, they can't just let their queens go out and get open mated because of all the African genetics, the Africanized genetics in the area. Pretty good stuff.
Crazy ladies.
Okay.
She was able to put out some brood, or some drone brood.
Yep.
My girls were late this year because of the drought.
Mm-hmm.
It was so dry at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, they're like months behind.
Yeah.
I don't think I had my first drones until May.
But up where I am, I went in my box this morning, and I've got some pretty solid looking honey in some of them now.
Nice.
It took a while. I felt like we were pretty late. Oh, a little bit of drone action on this side.
Queen cell.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, and it was populated too, but this is why we're going back through here.
Yep.
I think my husband and I took 14, 15 cells out.
Wow.
And I guess I should explain, being a beekeeper in South Florida, I mean, I know that Bruce has told everybody this is not like beekeeping anywhere else. And here in my area, because we don't have very many managed colonies around us, most of the feral stock has a higher Africanized genetic.
Yeah.
So that's why you see all my girls are all up in arms and
yeah, they're a little feisty.
Being just a little bit crazy. It's why Mr. Bruce is having a jacket on. I know my girls.
I borrowed her jacket.
No, I know my girls. But that's why they're not allowed to make their own queen. I'm in very close proximity to neighbors, and it's just not worth the risk.
Yeah.
Not for somebody to possibly get hurt or stung. And even if people aren't allergic, getting stung hurts. It just does.
Yeah, when you're a beekeeper, sometimes you get blamed for the wasps and stuff.
Oh, always. Your bee stung me. How do you know it was my bee?
Because she stung me 6 times.
Wow. I never knew bees could sting that many times. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, usually they only can have one shot on you.
Everything looks good here, so we're going to go ahead and put the queen on this next frame. And then we can close these girls up. Because, yeah, you move certain frames and it just sets them off completely. Okay, maybe not this frame. I got brood.
Yeah,
I got a solid brood on this side. Okay, so not this frame. This next one will work. But even with their attitude, they're still not that bad.
No.
I've worked with much spicier girls.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, yeah, this is good. This is mainly nectar. Yeah. So, this is what we're going to do. You girls need to go down. Light smoke, you don't want to kill them. Lay this frame down because it just makes things so much easier. Even if you only have one bee colony, if you buy queens and replace queens, get a bee box or a battery box. These things come in so nice. They're designed to hold these queens, these trigger cages. So whether you're transporting one or a bunch, I think that they should be included in beginner beekeeper kits. See our queen in there with the pink dot?
Yeah.
That's something else that I do here, is make sure that all of my queens are marked. Because if I'm going through my hives and I find the queen that doesn't have a mark,
something's changed.
Yep, we have an evil queen that came from somewhere and she must go. Come on, out. Out, out, out. Okay, now before I press her down, we're gonna give them just a minute. Now see, they're very happy to see her. Yep, we got all heads in. There's some feeding going on.
They're not clean either.
No. Yeah. See? Alright, ladies, come on. I know you've never seen a camera before.
I'm convinced the camera puts out like an IR signal or something.
There's something. But this is a good sign of acceptance.
Right.
So all I'll do now is just give this a very gentle push. You don't want to cram it down in there so that it actually touches that plastic foundation, but you want it in there well enough that it's going to stay put.
I usually put a toothpick through myself. That's cool.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I actually have a product in there that will hold the cage, and you can just hang it right over the top of the frame. But in order for it to work at its best, you have to remove the frame.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. But that's the cool thing about beekeeping. What works for one beekeeper may not for another, but it's nice that we have the options.
Yeah, we do things a little differently a lot of times.
No, we all keep bees, but we all keep bees just a little bit different.
Yeah, well said.
So now I'm just going to push these frames back together. Hopefully I have given myself enough room to slide the last one in. But there we go.
Very nice. Very nice indeed.
A little bit of bee space, and I'll come back in about 3 days and make sure that she's been released. Alright, I know we're going away, it's horrible. Bruce, thank you for coming out here.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I had a good time.
It's nice to have an extra set of eyes when you're looking for queens.
Oh yeah. Didn't help much on that. Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed that. I did. And Dana's really good people and really knows her stuff. It's good to hang out with her. But it just goes to show that with a little bit of ingenuity, you can actually make some money working with the bees. And at the same time, Dana is providing a great service for the beekeepers in South Central Florida. And we really enjoy having people like her in the business. Thanks. This is Bruce. I'll talk to you real soon.
I get my queens.
Nice. All right. Well, here's something interesting. You see this little palm tree? I mean, this is right here in my yard, right next to my shed, and the house is pretty close over here. And the other night I heard a big old bang, lightning. It was a storm going, it was raining hard. I didn't really think much about it, but lightning struck this palm tree here. And, you know, I don't see any problems on either side of it. But that tree has caught fire, and it burned pretty good. That tree's probably gonna die. There's some debris from an old hurricane down below. That's all burned up too. So I presume that lightning struck this tree, it caught fire, and it was raining pretty hard, pretty good storm, and the storm put the fire out. Man, well, you know, Florida is the lightning coast. Florida is considered to be the lightning capital of the United States. We get lots of lightning strikes here. I've had a tree struck in the yard before that I've had to cut down, but I can't believe how it struck right in the middle without hitting the trees on either side, the taller trees. Crazy place, Florida.